So essentially, like was pointed out earlier, we live in a society where a rape culture is known to be common, and the lawlessness surrounding this rape culture just shows the neglect of such issues and the fact that these issues aren't being treated with graveness, they aren't being seen as intensely as they should be. So first, I'm going to start by talking about child abuse and the policy in Pakistan surrounding it. So nearly 12 children are abused on a daily basis. So every passing day or every passing week, you have hundreds of children, and that amounts to the statistics that were stated earlier. So over 80,000 children are abused in Pakistan annually, which is very alarming. And these are only the reported incidents. Children are afraid to step up, and in their childhood, they're taught to be resilient and passive to violence, so that sometimes they can't even recognize that they're being sexually abused or that they're being targeted, and they just go with it, and they're frightened. And it's a sad reality that exists in all levels in our society, in all classes. It occurs in households where nowadays there's a trend of employing children as workers and as laborers, and these very children are then mistreated badly. They're not granted bare necessities, and on top of that, people go ahead and abuse those children very ruthlessly as well. And this is all because of the mindset that these children are brought up in, especially children belonging to the working class and like children who don't have a high socioeconomic status in society. Another reason why this problem is so prevalent in Pakistan is because there's so much homelessness among children on the streets. There are very few foster care homes or orphanages that can house these children and give them the due protection that they need. And because of that, we see instances of child abuse occurring very frequently. And essentially, so I'm going to talk about this case that occurred in 2018 in the city of Kasur in Punjab, and where a 6-year-old girl, Zainab, she was ruthlessly raped and then killed shortly after, and her issue went undiscovered for 4 whole days. And it took 4 days for the issue to erupt on the media and for people to sort of muster a public outcry. Apart from this, in Kasur we see that in 2018 we saw that 268 children were forcefully sexually abused, and these were recorded. There are at least 400 recordings of this action, and they were being sold in the local village markets for 50 rupees, 100 rupees, and it wasn't until 2019 that legislation came about banning the selling of such footage. Moving forward, like I mentioned before, there's no legal protection for these children. There's not a proper legislative framework that spells out the rights of a child. Although Pakistan is a signatory to the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of a Child, it has failed to abide by the very clauses of it. And we see that, even though child labor is banned all over the world, we see that in Pakistan it is very common.